Welcome to the Kitcar History File series, where we'll be going through the industry's past. We'll be visiting old marks of long ago, some modern ones, some mostly older stuff. A lot of archive information with photographs and information on the cars they made, the people involved, and what happened to them. Hi, my name's Steve Hull, and welcome to another episode of Total Kitcar History Files. Hope you've been enjoying the series so far. And we've got plenty more for you. And today we look at a company called Deltayn Engineering. Namely primarily a guy called John Parradine, who was the man behind that mark. And dear old John passed away in 2023, age 72. So it's almost like a little tribute to him as well. Very talented guy. But let's talk about his various cars. Two of the three were offered in kit form, and one had a slightly hairy story in France, but we'll come to that. Yeah, John was born in 1950. He first came onto the kit car radar in the UK in 1985 with a Jaguar XJ6 Roadster, a very large one, it has to be said, called Deltayn Proteus. And it was notable for having a bank of 6 headlights, 3 on each side, which it divided opinion, did that. Lots of people laughed at it, other people thought, yeah, quite cool. Certainly didn't, you wouldn't have missed it. I heard several rumours, AD 400, which later became the Ferranti Cars project, that was imported from the States by Dave Perry. I've heard rumours that the AD 400 was the basis for the Proteus. I never had a chance to ask John that, but I'd certainly asked Dave Perry, and he said no. But other people have told me yes, so we're not sure about that one. But could well be. But anyway, when I worked on Kit Cars and Specials back in the 80s, we invited. In fact, I mentioned this in a previous episode about the Atlantis. So I knew also the Onc Sprint. It's just coincidental that. That famous Kit Cars and Special stand at Stoney in 1986 or 87, I think it was, comes up in this series quite a lot. But anyway, we invited him on. He came along and exhibited his car on our stand, our special stand that year. And he got a lot of interest from that. It's hard to know how many he sold, really. I suspect he sold about half a dozen, maybe 4. Is a more realistic figure of the Proteus, Deltayn Pegasus. What am I talking about? Proteus. My excuse is a very hot weather. It's in my part of East Sussex today, 28 degrees, which depending on where you're listening in the world, that might seem almost chilly. But to me here in East Sussex, it's positively tropical. Sitting in my office. John's day job, he actually was born in Essex, and his day job was importing and selling huge industrial dumper trucks, those things with almost like 10-foot tyres on that you see shifted around the country on the back of low loaders at very low speed, or in quarries, massive things. And he bought and sold those, and indeed imported some. He really built the Proteus because he just fancied building a car and he couldn't really find what he was looking for. As mentioned, XJ Mechanicals. Windscreen was actually from, a lot of people have speculated on that over the years for some whatever reason, but it was actually a Citroen CX item. And I wonder if in 1985 John realised just how significant France a part France would play in his future career. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves. After the Proteus, he concentrated on his earth-moving quarry equipment business for a little while. But I guess engineering was in his blood because his dad was a designer, and he produced a full-scale, now this is absolutely true, a full-scale robot elephant for an exhibition. Powered by I think it was a Ford 4-cylinder engine of some sort, probably a side valve, actually, thinking about it. But anyway, That's actually the reason why on John's cars his badge was an outline of an elephant. So there's a nice bit of trivia for you. Not finished with car building, he commissioned the one and only Richard Oakes to create a new car for him. And this time it was a really serious effort. He really meant business with this one. It was called the Pegasus. And it's one of Richard's brilliant, best designs, I think. He also relocated at this time to a place called Appleby, which is near Scunthorpe. And the Pegasus, now trading under, but he was trading under the Parradine Motor Company by this point. Really was a superb car. Pretty sophisticated for the late 80s. Certainly for the specialist car industry. And John claimed it was the world's first car to feature a full Kevlar carbon fibre body shell. Not sure about that. I think he meant road car, because I'm certain that some racing cars had featured the material before that. But anyway, his original intention was just to offer it in fully built guise. And certainly those people that laughed and scoffed at the 6 headlights on the Proteus had to kind of eat humble pie when they saw the Pegasus. And he kind of really announced his intentions by booking a stand at the Geneva Motor Show in 1990, where he officially launched it. Not many kit car manufacturers in the UK have really been to that event. It had a beefy space frame chassis, a derivative really of the Proteus, I think. And power, the recommended power for it was a hefty old lump of an XJ12 Jaguar engine. Good for, by the time he'd finished tuning one on his demonstrator, about 350. Interior looked quite luxurious and very ergonomic. Rolls-Royce and Bentley trimmers, Callow and Maddox, I think from memory, were employed to create that interior. They did a beautiful job. The only problem with it possibly really was it's £92,000 asking price. That was a from price as well, by the way, which equates to about 142 grand in today's money, allowing for inflation. So it was a serious car, but it had a serious price tag too. But yeah, a lovely thing. But I'm not sure what he was expecting at the Geneva launch. I'm not sure. It was a very big step for a small company in the UK. But he couldn't probably have been expecting 400 orders via a 5,000 deposit, which is what he actually got. Completely overwhelmed by that. That brought him to the attention of a trade delegation from the French government who were doing the rounds that year. And they were not only very impressed with the car, but they liked the idea of becoming involved. I think they saw it as a supercar being built on French soil. And again, it's alleged, and I don't know if this is true, that President Mitterrand, the president of France at the time, was involved in the minutiae of the deal that saw John relocate lock, stock and barrel to a purpose-built factory. It's a brand new factory that the French Trade Ministry, Department of Trade, put him into on the industrial estate at the Manicourt race circuit near Nevers. I'm English, Nevers, but Nevers for the French listeners amongst us. I hope I've got that right. And not only that, but then Jaguar boss Sir John Egan, he liked it, the Pegasus, and he agreed to supply major running gear from the Jaguar parts bin for it. With Jim Randall, latterly, former Jaguar engineer designer, and later on behind the proposed relaunch of the Lee Francis mark. Jim Randall, he was involved, and he put in lots of hours on that car, I believe, from what John told me. However, by the time John had built 19 Pegasuses, is that right? Pegasuses? I don't think it is. It certainly isn't Pegasi. I know that much. But anyway, whatever that is, multiple plural Pegasus. He had a bit of a bombshell. The French government, for reasons unknown, probably I speculate because French car manufacturers weren't happy with an overseas manufacturer on French soil receiving a lot of plaudits. Although it's also equally likely that the first Gulf War in 1999 put the government under serious financial pressures. And whatever it was, thinking there's a looming oil crisis maybe on the horizon, they got cold feet and just literally pulled the plug overnight. Pulled the plug. John's dream shattered. Should have been his ticket to the big time. Certainly, I think one of the prettiest specialist cars I've seen. But John, he got over his devastation pretty quickly. Although in his heart, I don't know if he ever did, because I don't know if he would. But dream shattered, as I said. But he gave the ordered £5,000 deposits he took, less than 19 cars he'd supplied. He gave all the £5,000 deposits back, which was pretty honourable and a decent thing to do. So he moved back to Humberside in England to lick his wounds. At that point, he decided to offer it as a kit in kit form, and it's rumoured that he'd sold 3, maybe 4 in that format. But regardless of that, I think with a fair wind behind him and the rubber to green, he could have sold 10,000 of them quite easily. He really could. But the industry's been full of so nearlies and should have beens, and as we all know. But coining, I guess, the term "you can't keep a good man down," he took a break before planning his next automotive venture. He wasn't done, that's for sure. So in 1998, now trading under the JJR automotive banner, he had his third attempt at car manufacturing with the Parradine 525S Roadster, relocated by that time to Market Rasen in Lincolnshire. It was a modern, well, he called it a modern reinterpretation of the Pegasus. A pretty good one, pretty convincing one. Looked pretty stunning from what I remember. And I saw it, and it was officially launched at the British International Motor Show at the NEC in the year 2000. He also had an option, and I think again it was the first to do so. I mean, you see trucks with these things all the time now up and down the motorways, but he was first to do away with external door mirrors, and he had cameras in lieu of them and a little monitor. Certainly ahead of its time. I'm not sure how many of those sold took that option. But the car it was a pretty, very, quality thing. But it had Quantum H4 doors and that clever retractable roof system designed by Harvey Waldridge, one of the Waldridge brothers in charge at Quantum at the time. The roof system, that retractable roof system. Power came from a Ford modular V8 from the Mustang stable, 4.6 litre version, paired to a 6-speed gearbox. Weighed in at 1350, so actually in the overall scheme of things it wasn't that heavy. This one though wasn't available in kit form, and prices for that started at 130 grand. So again, it was a serious proposition. Various strengths of that Mustang engine were available, so you could have over and above the standard one, you could have 430 or 525 horsepower variants. And 2 other body styles. There was an SC Coupe and a 525 SE estate version, announced in 2001 and 2002 respectively. That car was available until about 2006, when the company quietly pulled the shutters down for the final time, and John kind of deservedly, I think, having poured his heart, soul and considerable funding into car manufacturing, decided to retire. He was a nice chap, John, really nice guy, astute businessman, and someone who should be lauded for having a real go. Not one, not 2, but 3 considerable efforts at car manufacturing. And there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed that, the story of Deltayn, JJR and Parradine Automotive. Common denominator being the man that was John Parradine. But anyway, if you've enjoyed this one, and if you got this far, you might have done. If you haven't already done so, please could you subscribe? Press the subscribe button, and then hit the all button, which drops down, I think, after that, which then means you'll be notified of every time a new video drops. These videos on the History Files series appear every week, actually, at the moment. interspersed with one of Neil Whittington, our video editor's feature videos every month. They appear first of each month around about. And if you'd be so kind, we do these videos in association with Neil and his channel at Enwin Motors. So if you haven't already subscribed to that, if you could head on over to Enwin's Motors, E-N, beg your pardon, ENWIN''S Motors, we'd all be very happy. Oh, and if you could, again, I'm told I have to say this, if you could hit that that thumbs up button, that helps our logarithm. So I don't know how, but now you know. So if you could do that, that'd be great. And thank you once again. Oh, and don't forget, if you enjoy reading about kit cars and hearing about kit cars, older kit cars, if you head on over to totalkitcar.com every Friday, where we update proceedings there, it's the new home for classic kit cars and specials. So within that section, you can find marks like John Parradine's. You can find 60s motorsport subjects, all sorts of let's admit, quirky subjects, which clearly a lot of people enjoy. So that's me. I'll look forward to welcoming you to the next one. And if regardless of where you are in the world, I hope you're having a great day. And thank you very much. Goodbye.